"5:58 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 5:58, 5:27 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 5:27 Sir Vince Cable, Universal Credit Creating Real Hardship, 5:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 5:17 Andrew Bridgen suggests bring your own news. Comments came from number 10, 5:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 5:15 Farage, PMs Europe advisor is enemy within More Brexit language better suited to a John le Carré novel this morning, this time from Ukip MEP Nigel Farage, who has called the UK negotiating team under Olly Robbins an enemy within, accusing them of attempting to sabotage Brexit. Catherine Bearder, at Catherine MEP Nigel Farage just called the British civil service the enemy within. October 24, 2018 Britain, says Farage, is heading for humiliation unless the Tories dump May. At the European Parliament, where it's all getting a bit heated this morning, he thanked Donald Tusk for confirming that it was May who asked for an extension to the transition period, but said that the threat of a hard border in Ireland was a red herring that would never come to pass. Farage told MEPs, "The problem is that there is a rogue element in these negotiations, a group of people who don't wish to see a solution, who put up a brick wall to stop us breaking free. It is not your chief negotiator Michel Barnier, it is actually the British civil service, Olly Robbins' team. They signed up years ago to the European dream. They have been happy to take their orders from Brussels, they are now out to sabotage Brexit. They are indeed the enemy within. Unless the Conservative Party comes with senses and gets rid of a leader who clearly is being led by the nose, we will head to the December summit, we will head to a humiliating sellout, and we will head to the UK being trapped in EU rules for many, many years to come." 5:01 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 5:01 EU's Brexit negotiator to May, no border solution, no deal updated at 5:04 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 4:40 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 4:40 Tusk, Britain requested transition period. Alberto Nardelli, at Albert Nardelli, Tusk to the European Parliament, since Prime Minister May mentioned the idea of extending the transition period, let me repeat that if the UK decided that such an extension would be helpful to reach a deal, I am sure that the leaders would be ready to consider it positively. October 24, 2018 European Council President Donald Tusk has said Britain raised the idea of an extension of the transition period, saying more time was needed to reach a Brexit deal. The Press Association reporting back on the summit to the European Parliament in Strasbourg, Tusk said he was sure that leaders of the remaining 27 member states would consider a UK request for a transition extension positively. He told MEPs, "It was made clear by the UK that more time was needed to find a precise solution. Therefore there is no other way but to continue the talks." Since Prime Minister May mentioned the idea of extending the transition period, let me repeat that if the UK decided that such an extension would be helpful to reach a deal, I'm sure that the leaders would be ready to consider it positively. Of course, I stand ready to convene a European Council if and when the Union negotiator reports that decisive progress has been made. Tusk said the EU is preparing for a no-deal Brexit, but hopes never to see it, adding, "The Brexit talks continue with the aim of reaching a deal." European Commission Vice President Frans Timmermans told the European Parliament, "The bottom line is we don't yet have the decisive progress we need. The goodwill and determination to find an agreement as soon as possible are there, but it's also clear that we will not rush a deal through at the expense of our principles or our agreed commitments, most notably on the Irish border question. With all of this in mind, we must now continue negotiating with patience, calm and an open mind. The Commission and our chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, received the full backing of all leaders to do just that. It is time to deliver and we are getting on with a job." European Parliament President Antonio Tajani said that without a backstop arrangement to keep the Irish border open, it will be very difficult for Parliament to vote in favour of the Brexit treaty. 4:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. 4:17 Theresa May to face showdown with Tory MPs over Brexit. Good morning and welcome to Politics Live. I'm Alexandra Topping and I'm going to be keeping you up to date on all the day's politics stories. There is another tricky day in store for the Prime Minister as she faces a meeting of the party's 1922 committee, the group of all backbench Conservative MPs which meets weekly when the House of Commons is sitting, who aren't in a charitable mood. It comes after a stormy cabinet meeting yesterday, at which several ministers insisted she negotiate with the EU a time limit to any Brexit backstop. Then she'll face questions from the opposition at PMQs before holding talks with Czech PM at Downing Street later in the afternoon. Elsewhere in the Palace of Westminster, the Exiting the European Union Select Committee will meet this morning. It will hear evidence from, among others, Seamus Leahy, of the Freight Transport Association and Declan Billington of the Northern Ireland Food and Drink Association. The Commons authorities will consider its response to a damning report into bullying and harassment at Westminster in a private meeting this afternoon. And in a meeting of the Work and Pensions Select Committee, a group of mothers will tell MPs that universal credit, which Sir Vince Cable called a slow-motion disaster, in the Daily Mirror, is not working for the very people it is meant to help. Updated at 4:57 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.